Have you downloaded Red Note?
No, I haven't.
You should
Do you
definitely
recommend?
我们
Out of 10?
小树里 Everyone's learning Chinese in 2 business
Did you
days.
learn that from Red Note?
Thank you. Yes, of course I did. I beg your pardon. Hey besties, it's your favorite caffeinated, medicated, and never hydrated nurse, Nurse John, and welcome back to your favorite podcast. I beg your pardon. Welcome back, and I'm super excited because we have a special guest for this episode. But before we head to that episode, if you're listening right now, do me a favor, make sure that you follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Make sure that you give us a 5-star review on Apple and Spotify, and also make sure that you share this episode to all your friends, besties, colleagues, everyone and everywhere. All right, and also if you're wondering what kind of scrubs I wear, it's Gardmalade, Gardemalade. You can use my discount code. It's Nurse John GM, NURSEJOHNGM. And also, bestie, if you haven't found out or haven't heard yet, I am currently on tour. That's why I'm here right now in Dallas, Texas. I am currently on my leg 2 of the short staff tour. That's right. So if you haven't gotten your ticket, you should definitely go get your tickets. Bring your bestie, your partner, your family, you know what? The whole unit, okay? Nurses, PT, everyone. And you don't have to be a healthcare worker to go to my show. So just go get your tickets at www.nursejohnshows.com. All right, that's a lot of yapping before we even start. But I hope you guys are doing well. I hope life is going great. And remember, if it's not, there's always another day to do it again. All right, bestie. So since we're already here and you're probably going to want to know who's our guest, let me just introduce it right here, right then. Okay, my guest for this episode is none other than, you have to say your name before I fucked it up myself. Introduce yourself.
Okay, so my name is Kaarin. It's pronounced like Kaarin.
Kaarin.
Yes.
Kaarin.
Kaarin, yes. That's
Kaarin.
right.
Okay, yes. Yes, ma'am. Kaarin Staalsen.
Well, technically now it's O'Hara, but that Staalsen was my maiden name.
You're
Yes. Oh, wait,
damn,
did you not know?
we already jump into that one right quick. Okay, so it's Kaarin Staalsen O'Hara.
Yes.
Amazing. And I think people are probably wondering why we're in the same room right now. That's because I love her so much. I think I started following her around like 2022, 2023.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, I didn't know that.
I just love how creative you are and like how you do things. And you probably already know her. She is the best DIY person you could ever count on to.
I've had such fun with it, like just doing whatever like crazy idea that I have. It's so fun.
And it's just like being inside of your head.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's nice
Yes.
because like in social media, it's so hard to know who's authentic and who's not. But then if we can get inside your head and think what you're thinking, it's more interesting and people get connected to you even more.
I always like say that it's like, because people always comment like, oh, I'd be so overwhelmed like in your house, like it's so crazy and colorful. I'm like, I feel totally calm because this is how like it feels in my head. Like this is like relaxing for me because like this is me, you know?
Just exactly the same thing for the beige mom or like the beige people.
It's like whatever you like is what your house should be, like whatever feels like you.
Exactly. So like it really depends on what you like and you should do what makes you happy at the end of the day kind of thing. Well, we're talking about your DIY content creator stuff, but yes, introduce yourself to everyone and I beg your pardon.
So my name is Kaarin. I do like my primary social media on TikTok. Obviously I like do DIY and interior design, but I'm also a nurse and I feel like that's kind of like how we connected when we first started talking because you messaged me. You were like, I didn't know you were a nurse.
Yes, exactly. And I think you just dropped the ball somewhere in one of your videos.
Yeah, because I never would post about it really because I don't know. I was like worried about my coworkers finding out or like, you know, it's just kind of like embarrassing at first. Like,
yes.
So
I totally get it. I totally get it. I mean, like, I think a lot of like our niche in healthcare is such a sensitive niche that not everyone is open to even like showing themselves out there.
Right. Yeah. That's
for sure. So it's hard, but like when you open it up, I think it opens so much more discovery for people to know you.
To know, because it's so much of who you are.
Right. Exactly. exactly, because when you said that you're a nurse, I was like, oh my god, like she's
She's
like done everything.
You have a connection too, because you're like, oh, I get it.
And I was kind of like guessing in my head. I was like, is she pediatrics? Is she?
Do you know what I do?
Wait a second.
Okay.
I was like, is she pediatrics? Is she labor and delivery? Is she like? I'm finding like the most creative, fun unit because everything else is chaos, right?
Yeah. That's how I felt in nursing school. I was like, I don't think I want to do this. Like all my clinicals, I was like, no. And then I had all my women's ones and I was like, okay, well, I can maybe do this.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's your specialty?
So I did antepartum.
Okay.
So yeah, and a lot of like units and hospitals will like combine their antepartum with their labor and delivery.
Makes sense.
But every hospital I ever worked at had them separate. And so I only ever did antepartum. I never did like labor and delivery.
Okay, so you've worked in the women's side.
Yeah, so like high risk pregnancy. So anyone that's like about to bust, like we're trying to keep them pregnant as long as possible.
Right.
But they're really high risk. They'd be on my unit until they go to labor
That's
and delivery.
kind of like depressing though. When I did my clinical, I was actually in the antepartum.
Oh, were you?
And so like...
Wait, what? I don't even know what type of nursing you do.
Med surge, bitch.
Okay, med surge.
Med surge. Med fucking surge. The craziest
like
shit.
All your videos.
Exactly. But like the antepartum was kind of like scary for me because each door, they put butterflies. They would put
they
like...
all have their different little symbols and stuff.
Exactly. And I feel like now it's making sense in my head why you're this creative, but at the same time, the unit that you're working at, because like those antepartum rooms makes me depressed because they're like, if you see a lamb, that means that this mom is like, I was like, oh yeah, we don't need to know that right now. I was like, it's a bit crazy. Oh my God. And you've only worked in antepartum?
Yeah, I've only ever done antepartum. Of course, like my float units were like postpartum and labor and delivery, but confidently antepartum only. Okay. That's like all I ever did. And I did that for 4 years.
4 years. Okay. And you've been a nurse for 4 years?
Yeah.
Okay. So we started at this.
This would have been my 5th year, but I haven't been working this last year as a nurse.
So did you graduated in 2020?
2019.
2019.
Yeah.
Okay, so a year after me. So you were a nurse first before me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you graduated 2020?
2020.
Okay.
2020. Because back in Canada, where I'm from, college and university is not the same thing.
That's so different.
I have to go to college for 3 years and go university and get my bachelor's for 2 years. I went to nursing school for 5 years.
That's like so much school.
It is a lot.
Nursing school for 5 years.
I know, because we're under a French system.
You worked for that.
I know.
You did.
I did. It was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot of crying. Oh my God.
Nursing school was so hard. Dude.
It was too much.
So hard.
It was too much. I feel like I would have given up if I didn't have like my small group of friends.
Yes.
Like they were my friends at the beginning. And they're now actually family. Yeah. Like I'm on their wedding, baby shower and all that stuff. We were just always together now. Sweet. Like they're my people.
I had like one really good friend. Cause my class was really small. I actually went to school like literally where we were at in Dallas at Texas Women's. Like we passed it on the way here.
That's so funny.
And I had one really close friend, and when I had started nursing school, like I just had got engaged, and she was in my wedding. Like
that is
quick.
So
I was like,
sweet.
we're trauma bonded. Like you're gonna be in my wedding.
It doesn't take much for you to make friends in nursing. Like
it really doesn't.
You're
like all suffering. You're like, okay.
You just have to have the same complaints. And you're like, you know what? You're my bitch. Yeah. And I'm your bitch. And we're together.
You're going to need me.
Exactly. Oh my God. So let's dive a bit more about nursing. Like, what made you want to become a nurse?
Oh man, I'm like one of those people that was never like, oh, I always know, like I want to be a nurse. Like I just grew up like always feeling like I never had one thing that I was like, I'm good at this. You know,
which sounds
so self-deprecating, but it's not. It's just like I never had anything where I was like, oh yeah, like I know this is what I want.
So true. I feel the same way too. I'm like, I'm always 50% good at something, but never 100.
You know, some people are just like, I know I'm good at this, so this is what I want to do. I never had that. And so it was so hard for me. Like, I mean, you're so young when you're deciding what you want to do, like for school for the rest of your life. And I had no idea. And my grandma was a nurse, and that was about all that I had in my life who did nursing. It was so different back then, nursing. So I really didn't know what to expect.
They're wearing skirt, white, everything.
Yeah, way different. And so I kind of just like decided, like, I knew, okay, well, I want to do something like pays decent. I
For sure.
lived around here. And so I was like, well, Texas Women's has a really good nursing program. I guess I'll just full send this since I have nothing else that I want to do. I'm just going to choose this.
Makes sense.
So that's what I did. And
Okay.
I really liked it. Like I fell in love with like the science aspect of things in a way I never did like in high school. Cause I feel like learning about your body and like it's so like empowering for you and it's so interesting. So I really did like that. Nursing is very rewarding. It's very hard, but you're doing something good with your knowledge.
For sure.
You know?
I think that's like one of the biggest thing that I love about nursing is that no matter how hard it is, at the end of the day, if you think about it, you just help a stranger get back on their feet or make them feel better in a way that nobody else can do it.
Yeah.
You
And you're
know?
with people in such like intimate moments.
Exactly.
Like their best days and their worst days.
That's it.
And sometimes you're like, they're probably not even going to remember me, but like you did make a difference in that moment, you know?
Right. It's not about how you something, but it's how you make them feel.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Something
I know
like
what
that.
You're talking about.
And it describes nursing so well because I tell them like they would not remember who I am, but they
they'll
would remember
how you make them feel.
how you make them feel.
That's so true.
And that's forever to them. And at least like for me, that's forever too on how I feel about my patients. Like I don't remember them, but I remember the times that I was with them and
Right.
how they made me feel or
Right.
what they taught me in
Yeah.
life. Because
Yeah.
you learn to from these people.
And you have those moments where you're like, at least for me, like I'm not working as a nurse right now, but I like always knew I'm like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like this is where
Right.
I'm supposed to be right now. And
Right.
you just like know that when you find the right place and
That's it.
you just know I'm supposed to be here in this moment with this person. And that's when
Exactly.
it's rewarding.
And it's
you know?
also nice to just hear that nursing, at least for my culture and a lot of other people, is that nursing was something that was pushed to them for them to do it. They're like, you gotta be a nurse or a doctor or an engineer. There's nothing else.
Yeah.
But it's also nice to know that you can be a nurse just because it's about pay. It's about like, I want to try something
Right.
new. I want to do something that's like interesting. And I don't know, this just sounds interesting to me. And I just want to do it. And you
Yeah.
get to love it. Like you
Yeah,
don't have to
you
want to
do.
be a nurse
Yeah.
when you're like 6 and like, you know what, this is what I want to be. You can
Yeah,
be
you
like,
can grow into it as you
That's
grow
it.
into yourself, you know?
That's
like
it.
you grow so much when you're a nurse. Like I
Oh my
was such
God.
a different person when I started than when I ended. Like I would never be like, oh my gosh, on a podcast. Like that's so scary. I'm naturally so like reserved and shy and quiet, at least when I started. And nursing helped me like in so many ways, like just being confident. Cause you know, you're walking in a room and you're having to like introduce yourself and immediately have the confidence that this person trusts you. You
that's
know?
it. It's something that I also like
Yes, you
try
like
to do.
fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it kind of situation
Yes.
because like these people are depending on you.
Yes, like if you
and
come
if you're
in there
just
all
like
meek and like, oh,
hi,
which
I'll
is
be
like
your
how I
nurse.
naturally would feel. Like that's I hated to like make phone calls. Like I remember the first time to call a physician, I was like by myself, like you know. So it did help me in a lot of ways to grow that I needed, like confrontation and confidence and things like that that I will never regret doing.
And I feel like that connects to the fact that that's why there's so many nursing creators out there, is because I feel like we developed the extrovertism in nursing and now we can just yap so much on
so
camera
true.
and tell our
That's so
story because
true.
you went from being shy to just like, you know what, I can tell you exactly what the fuck happened
Yes.
yesterday.
Yeah.
And I'm not even shy about it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
are you ready to hear about
Yeah. And it's
PP
just, you're like
you
a
know.
different person. Like when you're working at your job, I always tell my husband, I'm like, you don't even know. Like,
Yeah,
It's
like,
so
That's
different.
the thing too. It's like they know the superficial, like, oh my god, you cute
Yes.
scrubs, you know, all this. I was like, bitch, you haven't seen this shit.
Yeah, you don't
like
know.
literally, and like,
but that's so interesting. Like, I'm curious to hear about how it is having a spouse that's also a nurse because I
Yes.
don't have that, and so that must be like, is that nice? Like, have
It is
someone-
nice.
or is it harder?
well, to introduce it, we met in nursing school,
okay,
and I told her, you know, when you go to nursing school, really, you should not have any distraction.
yeah, oh yeah,
Because you hear about nursing school and they're like, listen, this is competitive.
they scare you, like too
Crazy,
much a little,
right? And so I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna do any relationship, I'm not gonna do any of these. But then I met her, I actually didn't like her because she had a group of friends.
Okay, gotcha.
And they would like go out, they would do things, they would like have fun.
Okay.
And I'm more of
You're
like
I'm focused.
I'm more of like, I'll go to the library. She had a fling with one of my nursing friends.
Oh, okay.
And then so like I was helping him.
You were wingmanning for someone else.
Yes. Then
Right.
after that, I remember it was Valentine's Day. My friend gave her like this big ass teddy. And I think she got embarrassed off of that. But anyways, 5 days after, we started talking in Snapchat. And then we started talking. We just started getting to know each other. And we kind of just have the same story. Trauma. And the trauma bonded so well.
Yeah.
That we were like, you know what? We're just
This
gonna
could work.
we're just gonna be
Yeah.
friends. But then the friendship turned into like
Oh, but that's the best. That's
exactly.
Like the best.
If I didn't have her, I would have gave up on nursing.
Oh,
It would have
that's
been like
sweet.
hard. Like we did it together
Yeah.
till the end kind of
That
thing.
is nice. You like have someone that like understands that.
We have that boundaries that when I go home, she doesn't talk to me.
Right. Which is like, that's good.
She leaves me be
Yeah.
because she knows exactly that I'm not in
Right.
the mood. Like exactly my skits.
Yeah.
My
Oh,
skits
see,
are
I was literally just thinking that. I'm like, oh, like that one skit you do.
it is
Yeah.
literally my skit.
Which is good. My husband learned that too. He was like, okay, I'll just let her be.
So having a spouse
Yeah.
that is also in the same field as you is good.
Yeah.
But it can also be
yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I cannot really complain about my shit because she's like,
Right. You're like, well, let me
here-
up you here.
She's like, well, listen to this one. And we're like, you know what?
God.
We're just not gonna talk today. It's nice to have someone who
Yeah.
understands you. Have you ever blown up to your husband?
No, not really. I feel like so I did day shift for 2 years and then I did night shift for 2 years.
Oh my god, girl.
And so when
Yeah.
I did day shift, of course I'm coming home like in the evening he's still awake and I feel like he just kind of learned like just let me be. And
Okay.
then I literally like go right to bed.
That's true. And what does he do?
He does insurance.
Insurance.
So like very different.
Damn.
Yeah.
Insurance. You must insurance. You need that in nursing. You need insurance.
He does auto insurance, so not very awful, but
okay,
still. Like,
okay,
you
auto
know.
insurance. Okay,
Yeah.
that's better. I was like,
Yeah.
we need insurance,
Yeah, we do
liability,
need
everything
insurance.
else. And since you asked me, like, how is it being with someone who's in the same field as you? How about being with someone who's not in the same field as you?
I think it's like good in equal ways that you've described. He doesn't really know what to ask about, if that makes sense, because I feel like you don't really understand everything. And even if I was going to vent, he's going to be like, huh? Which is nice in the same vein because I can vent and be like, okay, got it out. And he has no idea what I'm talking about.
Right.
But it's out.
So basically, you're telling me your husband is unaware. Because you will be laughing tonight with a crowd of like how many husbands
Oh, I
are
bet
so
a lot.
unaware. It's
My
like-
husband used to always do that. He'd be like, oh, you do postpartum. I'm like, no, I do antepartum. Like, you don't know what I do all these years. And he's like, oh, like it just goes right
they're
over.
so unaware. Okay, so it's nice to know that you're a nurse, and I think like everyone in our audience, all their besties knows now that she's one of us. You guys, since you're a nurse, what made you switch?
Like, how did I get where I am
How
now?
did you got into the DIY stuff? How did this Kaarin, Staalsen, O'Hara came into the social media
become-
world?
Well, it was like in the same vein of like I was getting really burnt out. Like had been working night shift for like 2 years and I was like, oh my gosh, like I have to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
And I started posting like sewing and crocheting videos because I was like in the transition of working night shift. And so I'm awake all night and I have nothing to do.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. And so I was like, what am I going to do
Don't
to
tell
fill
the
my
Today Show.
time
Don't
to
tell the
stay
Today
awake?
Show. Don't tell the Today Show. There's like, okay, that's why you bitches work on night.
And so I started like doing all my crafts and stuff at night.
Mm-hmm.
And then I do it at home when I'm like, you know, trying to stay awake so I can sleep during the day to go to the shift at night.
Mm-hmm.
And I would start posting things. And then it wasn't until I did like crochet stuff, like a lot of my crochet videos, that it started like going viral.
They're
and
super cute.
you know, and it's so exciting. You're like, oh, like, ooh, this is like maybe
Right.
something that could be something, you know?
My follow-up question to that is, you just said that you're more of an introvert person and you're more of like reserved.
Right.
How did you come to terms of like, now I'm bringing myself into a world
And, like,
where
people
people
are
are
gonna
actually
see.
like, sure, they're seeing my designs, my creativeness, but at the same
Yeah.
time, I'm showing them me.
Honestly, like, I don't think I could have done it if it hadn't been for, like, I was so burnt out nursing. Like, I was looking for a way out or, like, something to, like, some other option. Like, I couldn't keep going knowing that I was, like, stuck, you know? Like, I think I'm in a really healthy place now with nursing where I'm like, okay, like, I have some other things that I'm confident now that I'm good in.
Right.
That now if I want to go back to nursing ever, I would feel healthy in it. But before I felt trapped, you know, because I'm like, this is all that I have that I can do. And so I think that is what gave me the confidence to like be like, I don't care what anyone thinks because I want to do something different and I need to do something different because I'm not going to make it any longer, you know?
Love it.
So that's kind of what
Push you
that. Yeah.
to go outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Do you still remember the first ever video that went viral for you?
I do, yeah.
You
it was
do?
yes. The first one that I ever posted actually went viral, and it was I sewed like a wedding dress for $20, and it looked awful.
$20.
But yeah, I did that just because I was like bored one day, and I went and got the fabric, and I sewed the dress, and it looked hideous looking back.
Oh.
But like it was really fun. It was just like a fun little project.
That's
No,
it.
it was hideous. I know you're thinking it wasn't.
No.
It was.
You have to send it to me.
I will.
See,
You're gonna be like, oh, it's cute.
no. I will tell you exactly. Like a med search person. So it went viral.
It went viral, and then I just like kept posting, and it wasn't doing anything really. And then it wasn't until I started like crocheting and stuff that I was like consistently like, oh, okay, like this is kind of what is doing well and what I'm like enjoying doing. And so I just kept posting like, and you know, there's like lulls where you're growing, and then when you're not.
Right.
And
was it your goal to want to be a social media kind of like content creator?
You know what? Not really. I honestly don't really know what my goal was. I think when I started, I was like, oh, I'm actually making some money. I think that's when I was like, you know what, maybe I could like dial back nursing to an amount where I'm like healthy, and then I can have this to like supplement. So I wasn't feeling like I have to do this to like pay my bills. Like I can like do nursing a little less.
Right, for sure.
And then that's what I originally wanted to do is when I got to a point where I was like, okay, like I could maybe quit my nursing job. I wanted to just go part-time. But my unit didn't have like a position where I could go part-time. And so I was at a point where I was like, okay, well, do I quit and then like not have enough time to do what's growing and what I'm really enjoying? Or do I stay here like full-time, or do I quit? And so I ended up deciding like, okay, well, I guess I will leave. And I was like, if I ever want to go back, I can. Like, I'm so young, like I have time. I was so burnt out. I was like, I need to heal like my nursing journey so that if I ever want to go back, I'm like able to do it and not hate it forever, you know?
I love that. So the transition was because you're trying to find a way to
lighten my nursing load. And then it ended up being that I just left. It was hard for me like quitting though, because I felt a lot of like guilt and that like
and anxiety and
and I didn't feel like a nurse, you know? And then I'd have people commenting like, well, you were a nurse, but you're not anymore. Like, and then I just don't feel like people understand like your reasons for leaving and it's so normal. Like wanting to change a career is so normal, but I feel like in healthcare, when you leave, it's perceived a bit differently because people kind of view it as like negative or selfish that you're leaving something that's so needed.
Right. And let me fill you up with that because I've been through that. I've gone through that of like people are like, are you really a nurse?
Or like influencer
so you're just an influencer now. I'm like, you guys don't know exactly what's going on in my life. I give you guys 10%
pieces, but not everything.
Pieces of it, but you don't see exactly what I'm what I'm doing.
I've been through and stuff.
And you know, don't ever feel like you're not a nurse anymore just because you're not working. I feel like, and I always tell this to people, it's like no matter what you're doing in life right now, once you're a nurse, you will always be a nurse.
Yeah.
Like it's not gonna just go away.
Right.
Like I'm just happy that you did the transition because you have awareness of your own self. I'm so happy for you because I feel like now in social media, you're doing something that you actually enjoy.
I'm like really enjoying it. And I'm always like in the headspace of like, well, for however long it lasts or wherever it takes me, like I'll do it until then. And then I'll decide what's next, you know?
And how are you liking social media?
It's really good. I really do like it, and I especially like my little corner of the internet is very like fun and crafts and DIY and for the most part positive,
Right.
but you do have your negatives.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
that is an adjustment.
For sure.
But it's like you sound horrible complaining about it.
But you know
it's
what? We're
still,
going to
like-
talk about it because who the fuck cares? It's our lives. My editor can cut this. But can we talk about the hate you got? That was
Oh my
big as
God,
fuck.
It was horrible.
Can we talk?
I don't want to like have a big whole thing, but like
How have you handled hate?
you have moments where it's like so hard to like read things about you that just like really do affect you. Like
For
it
sure.
really does get to you, even though you know these people like don't actually know who you are. So I definitely have had moments where like I was not well, but like luckily having people around you who like remind you like these people don't know everything about you. And like having to have that moment to remind yourself like I know who I am and I'm confident in that and I'm happy with how I am.
Right.
And I know like I haven't done anything bad to anyone and I know I'm a good person. And I think like if you can be okay with that at the end of the day, like that's what matters more than anything else.
I've dealt with that situations too where people have created like this drama and hate train towards you when you know yourself you're like you've not done nothing wrong to anyone.
You do like question everything.
Question
though, you
yourself.
know?
Like I'm
Yeah.
digging my head. I'm like, what shit did I do to you for
Yeah.
me to deserve this
Yeah.
kind of treatment from you?
Yeah.
But then I realized that in social media, no matter how good you are as a person, no matter what you do, people will still
Yes.
and will find ways to
Yeah.
hate on you. It's like
Yeah. If they
you've-
want to hate you, they're going to find something
for sure
to hate about
they're
you.
like, you've only donated $50,000.
Yeah.
What did you give?
Yeah.
Nothing. You've hated on me, and that's
Yeah.
what you did, and that's not even positive. You know.
Yeah, if they're at a point where they've decided they want to not like you, like
For sure.
those aren't the people that you need to like you anyways, you know?
Exactly. And like this whole social media also teaches you how important it is to only rely on people who actually knows who you are as a person.
Because it all becomes really parasocial, like really quick. And
Yes.
like even like I think about myself, like I have creators that I really like to watch and you start to feel like you do know them. And then you're taking a step back, you're like, I don't actually know them at all.
Mm-hmm.
And you start to feel that way vice versa as a creator where you're like, oh, these people do know me, but like they know you to an extent.
Yes. Like
But
it's
they
like
don't
10%
know
of my
everything,
life.
and they don't get to like decide what kind of person you are. Like you
sure.
you need to feel confident in who you are, you know.
And that you know that will help you, I guess, survive those kind of like situation in social media, because that's a lot of what creators are going through is
Right.
like, how can you deal with people who means bad to you?
Right.
And moving on to this negative shit, because it's 2025, we're locked into positivity.
That's right.
What has social media done to you that you really do appreciate, like on your end?
I think like I really enjoy getting to like share a side of myself that I feel like was in the dark for so long. Like I feel like that creative part of me has just been like lying dormant for so long because
For sure.
I haven't really got to exercise it. And I think we all have different parts of ourselves in different seasons that like we get to exercise. And I've really just been enjoying like getting to know this part of myself, you know, because I
Right.
really enjoyed getting to know like the side of my nursing self, which is so different than this side of myself.
Right.
So I'm enjoying getting to know that and share that with other people and like find joy in something really different.
And that's it. And like for people who probably might question of like, well, you were saying how like, you know, I'm a nurse, but I don't feel like a nurse because
Yeah.
I'm not practicing anymore. I don't think that's true. I
Right.
totally believe that once you're a nurse, you will always be a nurse. And no matter like in what situation you're in your life right now,
Right.
that would not take away the fact that you are a nurse.
Yeah.
It's not, I was a nurse, you're a nurse. And that
Yeah.
would stay with you forever. And people have questioned me to like, oh my God, John, but you know, are you a real nurse? Or like, it's so
Hard.
belittling because it just made me feel like all the studies, all the hard work I did for
yeah,
nursing
like I
is
will
like,
always have that and I worked hard for that, but I'm always like will correct people if they're like, well, you're not a nurse anymore. And I'm like, no, I'm not working as a nurse right now, but like I still am a nurse, you know?
exactly.
Because
Because
that's
like,
a part of you.
it would never leave you. If anything happens, I could go back with my diploma in a unit
which
and they
we
will
might have to do here in a bit.
we will do that in a bit. And since we're talking about that now, I know you're talking about that you grew in TikTok, and TikTok is like your main platform, and that's where you know
It's like
you've
my
done.
favorite. Yeah.
It is my favorite.
It's just so
too.
fun.
It
Like
is
there's
so-
a different energy. You
It's
know?
like very liberal.
yeah. It's
Like you're just like,
Yeah,
Ugh,
you're
like,
just your youest you know?
Yeah, exactly. And so like I think that's what a lot of people appreciate TikTok. But as we all know, and as we've all heard, and as we've all been watching, TikTok is about to be banned. How the fuck do you feel about that? Bad.
Period. But I don't know, like I'm just in denial, holding out hope. But like I also like realistically know, like okay, well it's probably going away.
And like, what's your backup plan? What's plan B for you? I mean, because it's hard, right?
I don't know, like I'm just gonna see. I don't know. I don't have a backup. I'm just gonna be like, okay, well how is it going without it, and then assess what's next as it comes, which is so different than how I've lived all of my life, being like whatever happens.
Have you downloaded Red Note?
No, I haven't.
You should
Do you
definitely
recommend?
Woman,
Out of 10?
Everyone's learning Chinese in 2 business
Did you
days.
learn that from Red Note?
Thank you. Yes, of course I did. Everyone, you have to learn Chinese
okay.
because the app is so Chinese. I'm like, okay, I didn't know there's so many American that knows Chinese.
They probably hate us too. They're like, get off our app.
We're ruining that app.
We are.
I'm
We're
just
gonna
warning
ruin it.
y'all. You gotta stop asking them to translate our TikTok's language. Like, you guys cannot just say things like, "What's raw next" in Mandarin. These
like,
people
excuse
just
me, what?
It's like, these people are just happy to be in their little village, and that's why they called us
We're
TikTok
disturbing their
refugees.
That's what they're calling us?
They're calling us TikTok refugees. And
my
they're like,
gosh.
hello, TikTok refugees. Welcome to our mini app.
They know we're there and we're watching.
And there's a rule.
What?
So like, if you ever post in there, you have to put subtitle and your caption has to be in Mandarin. Otherwise,
How
they'll
do you
kick
know
you
what
out.
to put?
I just
Google
put
Translate?
Google Translate.
What if you're saying like all kinds of crazy stuff you don't know?
And they're correcting me in my comment section, but at least my comment section is full.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, so you're successful already.
Exactly.
Overnight
exactly.
star,
But
okay.
I don't think that Red Note will ever thrive.
I don't think
because
so
it's more
either.
Chinese than TikTok.
Right.
And so it's just gonna get banned too.
Yeah.
And so like I think other avenues that people can lean into that's more like beneficial for them is like Instagram. Facebook feels
YouTube.
old. It feels
Facebook
farm.
is so hard.
It feels
People
like
are crazy
Farmville.
on Facebook.
Oh my god. The
Like
worst.
sometimes I glance at the comments on Facebook and I'm like, I can't. I have to leave.
Facebook.
It's
It's
a
like the
lot.
meanest.
They are
Karens.
mean. I'm so glad someone else has mean people on Facebook because my Facebook people are mean.
And it's older people, like 60-year-old.
They hate to see you coming.
They're like, how you wearing that scrubs? You look ugly as fuck."
that color?
I was like, because it's not 1965.
Yeah, Facebook. Mm-mm.
But Instagram, I think is
Instagram's
another
good.
avenue.
YouTube's good. Do you have
That's it.
YouTube?
I do have YouTube.
Okay.
Well, I post most of them, the shorts and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
But it's
Me
just
too.
like it's
hard.
hard.
It's like a whole different like.
vibe. Yeah, I know. It's like it feels Jeffree Star. It feels Jeffree Star in
It
YouTube.
is. It's hard.
It is hard, but I think what I want people to know is that I don't think that TikTok will go away anyways. I think
Okay.
it's
I hope so.
TikTok has given millions of people here in the United States opportunities
Yeah.
that the past years and decades have not given to anyone. Like
Right.
we've literally changed the whole entertainment industry because now
Yeah.
like in like this celebrity studded like events, you'll see TikTokers in it.
Yes.
And like
TikTok has changed so much, like for so many
it
people.
did. It's not just Brad Pitt anymore.
Yeah.
It's like,
And, like, businesses.
they might be hating on this TikTok. They're like, why are you in the Met Gala?
Yeah.
Oh, she did that.
Yeah.
Like no one did that. Like you have to have a bunch of experience for you to even be there.
Yeah. It
You
will be
know?
interesting if it goes to like see
For sure.
a lot it will be
It's a lot. But yeah, well, it's so nice to get to know you more as a person, as a nurse, as
You
this
too.
creative DIY content creator. And I think like a lot of people have appreciated you, but like getting to know you in a deeper sense help everyone, our besties, that bitches, she's one of us.
Officially a bestie.
Exactly. She wasn't 100% burnout like us, but she was close to that. But she got self-awareness, which
Oh
we
my
all should
gosh.
have. You know what I mean? What am I talking
Yeah.
about? But yes, I think like it's so nice to just, it's refreshing to
too.
meet someone. Again, like I would describe you like you just feel like a rainbow.
Thank you.
That's how you
That's so nice.
felt like for me. Like you are the same exact person
You are too.
in social media.
Like within 1 second of meeting you, I was like, okay, thank God. He's like exactly like I thought he would be.
I mean, like I tell people, I was like, there's no way for me to change who I am when you meet me in real life than I am in social media
Yeah.
because like this is who I am. This is who you
Right.
meet. Like I feel like being something else or being above someone just because
Right.
you have this following and like
Right.
influence
Yeah,
feels like icky to me.
it does.
Like first of all, you would not be in this position if
Right.
it wasn't for everyone who supported
Right.
you along
Yeah.
the way.
Exactly.
You know, these people have brought you in this position.
Yeah.
But don't get your head too high.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Well, that's
you're
why
right
you just
there
never
with
know,
everyone.
like when you're gonna meet someone, like
Yeah.
if they're the same as you think.
Right. And I
you
even
know?
tell people when they meet me in public, I was like, listen, girl, I should be the one embarrassed because I'm the one making these videos.
right.
Embarrassing fucking videos
Yeah.
that you're
It
laughing.
is kind of embarrassing sometimes.
Thank
You're like
you.
really putting yourself out there.
I know. If you guys see me filming myself, like
I love
fuck,
it though.
I love
you gotta
it.
be like confident.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
That's
I
how
love-
you're successful.
Exactly. But like I film myself filming myself.
Oh yeah, and you're like perceiving everyone watching you, and you're like, I'm insufferable right now, but like I need to not care.
That's why I stay in my bathroom.
Do you film in your house?
Yeah. In my
Okay.
bathroom. My
Where
bathroom
do you
is
get all the supplies?
Amazon.
You have an IV pole. Amazon.
Amazon. And like these medical companies have them all. And people are like, did you steal that from the
Oh my
hospital? I was like,
God.
how do I
much was it? The IV pole.
the IV pole?
Yeah.
200. Investment. Invest.
It's a much needed prop.
Thank you.
You needed
Investment.
that.
Because you gotta make sure that people feel it, right?
Oh yeah, it really added to the whole hospital ambiance of your videos.
I found me some
And the gowns.
I got me some cooler canoe.
Yep.
I got gowns. I got everything.
so funny.
I got a whole like
I'm just like
catheter.
picturing you on Amazon, like okay. I
Oh
need
my god,
this and
Amazon's
this.
full. Like whoever's packing my package is probably
They're
like,
like, what's
what
he doing in there? Like, is he bunkering down, making his own little
What
hospital?
kind of American Psycho shit is going on in this Amazon thing? Because
Oh
like
my- some back alley surgery.
I know it's crazy, but you gotta be creative.
and people
you know,
love it. You
and
know,
like what you said, you know, you have to express yourself in a way that you're happy with it.
yeah,
And you gotta leave the thinking of like, what if they say this?
Yeah.
What if they think about that? Nobody gives a fuck
right,
about that.
right.
Do what makes you happy.
You can't be successful if you're gonna care about that so much.
That's it.
You know.
That's it. Well, thank you so much for being in the
Thanks for
podcast.
having me. You were
I-
so great to talk to.
Oh, you are so sweet. I mean, like, we're gonna go to the show tonight.
I'm so excited.
Yes,
I can't wait.
The short staff
I'm gonna be a
tour.
bestie in the crowd.
Period. And that's why you should definitely go get your tickets to the short staff tour. It's at www.nursejohnshows.com. Come see me live. Bring your bestie. Bring your family. Everyone. Everyone's gonna relate to this. You don't have to be a healthcare worker to watch my comedy show. It's for everybody. But before we go, I want you to give an advice to those people who's listening right now who was in the same position as you as a nurse.
I think like you're always gonna have like periods of your life where I used to tell myself like every day when I'd go into my job, I'm like, okay, I have to do this for now. Like this is what I have to be doing right now. And I think like that really helped me to know that like I don't have to be doing the same thing forever. And it's like normal to grow and change and to want to do different things. And so I think like my biggest advice is that you're never too old or too young to change what you want to do when you're able to. And that might not be a season you're in now where you're like, I'm able to. Like you might be in a stuck season. But that's not to say that a season is coming where you will be able to do something different. And when that season comes, you should do it if you're not happy with where you're at.
Beautiful. I love that. Season changes in your life.
Yeah.
You just gotta fit into what season it
Yeah.
is. Enjoy that season.
Yeah, because it's so easy to be like, just leave and do something different, but not everyone can do that. And you are in seasons where you just have to do what you're doing right now. Not always like that.
That's it. And that too, for people listening to that, you can do other stuff than nursing. Like you don't have to
Yeah.
feel like stuck in this profession. It's not for everyone, but it's not also to say that because you're leaving the profession, that doesn't make you a nurse.
Right.
You're leaving the profession because you're doing other avenues that you feel happy and rewarded.
Yeah, and normal people do that. People
Thank you.
change what they do all the time. So
That's
you
it.
can too.
Beautiful. I love that so much. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of the podcast. And I hope that you guys got to know Kaarin more and just know that she's one of us and just look at her success. She is a nurse and now she is a DIY content creator where she's exploring a lot more than just being a nurse because you are more than just a nurse. You're a human being, you're a friend, you're a sister, you're a wife, you're everything to someone else's. So enjoy those parts of your life and make sure that whatever you're doing, you're satisfied, you're rewarded, and you're fulfilled.
Yeah.
I think that's the most
Period.
important part. Beautiful. And where can people follow you in social media? Because for sure, if TikTok goes away,
Right, I know.
tell them where exactly they can follow
So
you.
I have the same username everywhere. It's Kaarin Joy, and it's Kaarin Joy.
Amazing. Where can people find this and support you and get
So I
them?
have like all my links on all my bios on all my stuff, but the wallpaper company is called Dizzy with Excitement, and the collection is the Behind the Door collection.
Behind the
Yeah,
that's
need
so
to hook
you.
you up with some wallpaper.
Oh my god, I would put
Yeah,
that in my
you need to
motherfucking
put it
bathroom.
somewhere.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Thank you again, Kaarin, for
Thank you
being
for having
here.
me.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. And if you guys are listening right now, make sure that you follow us on Apple and Spotify podcasts. Give us a 5-star review, and make sure that you share this episode and follow Kaarin on all platforms that she's on right now. I just know, and I wish you one last thing is that this 2025 brings you a lot more achievements and goals in your life.
You too.
Love you.
Love you too.
Let's go to the show.
Let's go.
Let's go.
I'm so excited.
See you guys. Bye.